The reason why I've decided to make this channel, I have a lot of thoughts in my head, and I sort of want to make this leap and make diaries of my day-to-day and discuss topics that have been on my mind and have been extremely prevalent in my life. And hopefully some people can connect and relate to my batshit crazy mind, but I'm really just looking to connect with people and spark relationships. That's the main foundation of what I want this channel to look like. I don't really have a lot of people to talk with about the things I've been feeling, but I'm hoping this will be something positive in my life amidst a lot of pessimism and negativity. And recently, I've just been finding myself hating my life and myself, even though I think people from the outside may look at me and think I have a perfect life. But at this point, I literally feel like I am nothing and I have nothing. So I'm just making this channel for some of my more personal thoughts. I guess tonight I wanted to talk about life as a socially anxious person and sort of the steps I'm taking to be better. So just to give you guys some background context, there's really nothing special about me. I am very average and ordinary, and I'm in my early 20s, and I just graduated from college, and I moved back home with my parents where I work remotely. And I sort of make up the excuse that the pandemic heightened my social anxiety, but I think in other ways I've sort of just hidden behind this huge pandemic that happened to affect a lot of lives in different ways, when in reality, I don't think it impacted me to that extent. Like, honestly, I had a good childhood, and with me having these feelings, I don't really understand where they come from. I feel like it's my deeper thoughts telling me that I'm ugly and stupid and worthless and no one likes you and you're always going to be sad. And once I felt this sadness in high school, it's never left me. It's always been a lingering feeling, like a cloud over my head. And at first I thought I had seasonal depression, but I realized it's year-round. Like, I always feel sad and I feel like my life is shitty and I have no fucking clue why, and my mentality shouldn't be the way that it is. Like, my feelings and emotions shouldn't be the way that they are. And, I know I'm not great at articulating my feelings, so please bear with me. And this is my first video, but I'm going to be consistent with uploading. But let's see here. So growing up, I wasn't the smartest kid. When I think back on my childhood, my teenage years, it's often foggy because I was never able to address or identify my emotions and feelings in the correct way. So because of that, I'm not able to recollect a lot of what I was thinking or how I felt. But in school, I was never bullied or picked on. I was just very, very average and normal. However, I did find myself like overthinking people's perceptions of me and anything that had to do with socially engaging with people. And because of that, I was extremely shy and self-conscious. Like, for instance, all the way back in elementary school, I would actually tie my hair in a ponytail every single day because I didn't want anyone's attention on me. Like, I made sure to look the same every day so people wouldn't talk or judge me for, suddenly putting my hair down. This happened from elementary school all the way up to sophomore year in high school. And at that point, I was just like, fuck it. No one gives an actual fuck if I put my hair down. Like, no one cares. So that's just like a part of what I was enduring with myself. Like, that mentality was and has been really challenging. Like, I literally am trying to find my mind when it comes to anything and everything, and it gets frustrating because I want to be something and leave a mark, but it's hard when your mind tells you to take a back seat where you're physically incapable of doing shit. Like, growing up, I was a very athletic kid. I played both soccer and basketball up to my high school years, and I really do think my anxiety impeded my ability to be an athlete beyond high school. Quick story. when I was just starting soccer competitively and chosen to be on the team, I was so psyched. I was like, all of my life I've been shy and introverted, and this is my time to be me and not be shy. Because I wouldn't know anyone on the team, because there are girls from different schools and they wouldn't know me. So it would be sort of like a clean slate where no one knows you beforehand. So they're not expecting you to act one way or another. You can just be you. That was my crooked ass mentality. Like, just thinking about my social anxiety when I was at such a young age completely makes me cringe. Like, I always thought I needed to be what I was every single day because I didn't like the attention. And so I thought I needed to be the same in every situation. And it was never anyone else's fault. It was always me and my own self-sabotaging thoughts. So back to soccer, I was going into it thinking I'm going to be super extroverted and everyone's going to love me. And it just so happened that there was this one girl who I knew, who I went to school with, who was on my team. And it sucked because it wasn't a person that I knew very well. All I knew was that she was popular. And so because of her higher social standing, I ended up being like my same old introverted self for like 5 to 6 years on that same fucking team. Like, just because that girl who I hardly knew was on the team, it's actually crazy to think about how I rarely talked to anyone on the team because I didn't want this one person to judge me for having this other side to me. And, you know, I know it was not her fault. It was my fault. And I remember this team liked me, or at least I think they liked me, and I was just always shy, and I didn't like talk until talk to sort of thing. So these thoughts just really held me back from performing the best I could, and honestly, it sucked, and my life was just hell throughout the time. So these behaviors and thoughts happened way back in elementary school, just like constantly overthinking social situations and jumping to the worst possible conclusions, to the point where going to social functions have been so stressful and energy draining that I will almost always make them an excuse not to go because it literally makes me dizzy and lightheaded. Like, there's too many parts going into this situation that I don't even want to go to, that just makes it not worth it. And even nowadays, I find myself preparing for a social event like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in advance, like planning every itty bitty little thing so I don't fuck up. So like making myself like presentable, Googling social scenarios at that particular event, like making sure I'm not eating too much before or just not eating at all, and literally overthinking everything so the day of the event becomes so stressful and overwhelming that I'm not able to do anything else but worry about the social event that day. And then once arriving, like, social events are always different from how I envision them to be, and it's never bad. So my thinking is like, why do I always put myself through this shit? Like, why do I torture myself to the extent that I feel super shitty about myself? And it sucks because even though I am pretty confident, like, I care too much about what other people think. And that's what's been hurting me all my life. You know, I've just always been hyper vigilant of people's judgments. And here's the thing, like, I feel like you can be handed everything you want in your life and it still not feel meaningful or happy. And it's not because of the situation you're in, it's just battling yourself. And it's the worst type of pain and way of living when your own self is against you. And I think the deeper root cause of my social anxiety stems from society's influence on me and I guess what we regard as normal or growing up, and just like overthinking that and how I fit in and how much I'm liked. And I'm making this video because I think I'm ready to start a new chapter, a new beginning, and I think this is the time to do that. Like, I've never taken a leap like this before. Like, this is my first time really getting myself out there. And most of my days are extremely boring and average. And I realize, you know, why not start this now? And we'll just see where it goes. But yeah, I mean, I think for anyone who's battling things like social anxiety, introversion, relationships, being healthier, both mentally and physically, mental illness, loneliness, anxiety, depression, like anything like that, I would love to be able to connect with those people who want to get better with me, because I think this year is my time to be a better person and to connect with people. And I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to fetishize sadness or depression. Like, this is me just being real and raw and letting you know my intrusive thoughts, and hopefully like people finding it interesting and relatable. Yeah, I'm happy I'm taking this first step. You know, life is meant for taking leaps and challenging your whole self. So that's what I'm going to try to do 2023. And so this year, I want to set goals and improve my life. So I guess you'll see me try to be more social and develop friendships, like be healthier. For the longest time, it's been 4 years since I last played soccer and basketball, and I haven't exercised since. Hopefully, like working out and eating healthier will motivate me to be better. But one last thing, I think this is important, but I think earlier on in my life, I thought I was someone who was going to be something, right? And I'm in my early 20s, and I think I've come to realize now that I'm not a special case. Like, I'm not the main character, and life's not a movie. And I think these issues with social media and the aesthetics a lot of us are chasing has altered our views on what a successful and fulfilled life should look like. Sort of like the purpose of everyone's life is supposed to look linear, when in reality, I think it's okay to be average. Like, there's nothing wrong with living that type of life. Like, those who try to chase after a lavish or exciting life have become burnt out and consequently depressed. But I think it's been an unhealthy thing for me, and I think part of this really aided my anxiety and depression in sort of not knowing the steps to take to be successful, and living an average life led me to be what I am today. I've realized that there's nothing wrong with average. Happiness is within the person and no one else, and beauty is all around us. And right now, I'm trying to find my happiness and beauty and purpose in life.